Today we are going to be talking about Home Depot's 2026 lineup, animatronic lineup. And I will have links in the description down below whenever they are all available because the drop is Thursday. So without further ado, let's get on to the intro. Hey guys, it's Epic Irahants. Today I will be talking about Home Depot's 2026 animatronic lineup. So without further ado, let's get on to it. The first prop I'm going to be talking about is the 5-foot Rottwing Parrot. This is one of the most cool and unique props of the year for one reason. This thing uses the same conversation technology that Willow Witch from Spirit Halloween also 2026 does. This thing is really cool. It has, I think, 6 pre-recorded phrases that it'll respond with. But I think it said something about 20 on the tag at the media event. But this thing is really cool. And I do plan on picking this thing up. It looks absolutely gigantic. The parrot on the perch. But yeah, now we're going to talk about the Rottwing Parrot's price. Rottwing Parrot retails for $180 this Halloween season, which is not a bad price considering how big he is and with that conversation technology. Willow Witch is only $300 too, but yeah. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the Rottwing Parrot. Let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is probably one of my favorites of the year. This is the 6-foot wide creeping spider. This thing is really freaking cool. Take that skeleton that we got, the crawling skeleton that we were supposed to get last year, but make it a spider, and they came out with this, because sadly that thing got canceled, but this thing's a lot better. I love how the legs move. It just looks like Arachnophobia, but on a track mech, and that's smaller. That's really freaking cool, and this is another one I do plan on picking up this season. Now we're going to talk about Creeping Spider's price. The Creeping Spider retails for $250, which is not a bad deal at all considering this thing's movement and the legs moving, which is really cool. I like how it crawls forward, like with the legs moving and it moving forward. But yeah, it's like a Scare Factory prop, but I love this thing. So yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is the Till Death Duo, which... this is a really cool prop. I mean, it's 2 animatronics in one. It's just basically 2 3-footers you can get. They're like $40 each, but they're together. I do like this prop, and it's probably towards the bottom of my list just because I wouldn't really pick it up. But nothing really at Home Depot this year is really bad except a few props. But now the Till Death Duo's price. The Till Death Duo is going to retail $100 this season. Definitely a budget-friendly kind of pickup, and I would recommend buying them if you're on a budget. But yeah, anyways, that's all I have to say about the 2 Till Death Duo. Let's move on to the next animatronic on this list. The next prop from Home Depot I'm going to talk about is the Zombie Velociraptor, made by Pan Asian Creations and sold by Home Depot for the 2026 season. I do really like this thing. Its detail is amazing. I mean, it's not the most amazing thing ever, but it is really good. Am I going to get it? Maybe. I mean, I'll have to see it in person first, but this is one that I would consider buying. It's, speaking of buying, now we're going to talk about the Zombie Velociraptor's price. The Zombie Velociraptor is retailing this season for $300, which is not bad. He's 8 foot wide, so I guess that's a pretty good price. But yeah, so anyways, let's move on to the next prop. The next prop from Home Depot I'm going to talk about is I'm pretty sure this is Pan Asian Creations grave robber. This guy is really freaking cool. At first I was hating on this guy so hard because I thought he was just gonna be generic, turning his head side to side, but no, this thing is far from generic. He has a little rat in his chest that jumps out, and then the skeleton in the skull in the wheelbarrow also jumps out, as you can see. But this thing is freaking cool. I don't know if it'll be a pickup for me, but most likely I will be picking this thing up. Now the Grave Robber's price. The Grave Robber this Home Depot season is going to be $200, which is not a bad price at all. And I would recommend you get this guy. I mean, he looks really freaking cool. So yeah, Grave Robber is a really cool prop. I'm glad he grew on me so much. But yep, anyways, let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is the 9-foot Dry Rot Dentist. This thing is really freaking cool. It's like Murderous Maple. It's to go with that collection of Murderous Maple, Scouting Sapling, and Horrifying Hickory. This is so far my favorite of them, and this thing's really cool. I love the colors on him. I love where the colors change on him. This probably is my favorite way they change colors, but yeah, Dry Rot Dentist is really cool. I've heard he's really huge in person, but now we're going to talk about Dry Rot Dentist's price. Dry Rot Dentist this Home Depot season is going to retail for $300, which he's 9 feet tall, so that is pretty good, but yeah, anyways, that's all I really have to say about Dry Rot Dentist. I don't have much to say. So anyways, let's move on to the next prop. The next prop on this list I'm going to be talking about is the 3.5-foot Baby Troll. Now, it's made by Pan Asian Creations, but I do really like this thing. I like it a lot better than Tumble the Troll, only because Tumble the Troll was not really my thing, and he was also kind of expensive, and he's also, in my opinion, a knockoff of Carnival Carl. Carnival Carl's much better, but I love this Baby Troll. His phrases are good. His movement's good. I have seen he has deforming issues, but I am most likely going to get him. Now, Baby Troll's price. This season, the Baby Troll will be retailing for $120, which is really good. Well, he is really small, too. But yeah, I do really like Baby Troll, so we're going to move on to the next prop. The next prop is one that I've talked about in the past. He released back for halfway to Halloween, but here now we have Checkmate Chuckles. Made by Seasonal Visions International and sold by Home Depot for the 2026 season. Him and Neon Nightmare are both really cool, and I have heard that their mechanisms got fixed. So I will be picking Neon Nightmare up, but I will not be picking Checkmate Chuckles up. But I'm surprised Neon Nightmare didn't get his demo, but yeah, I like Neon Nightmare better, but Checkmate Chuckles still is a really cool prop. Now, Checkmate Chuckles' price. I have no idea because he was originally $180, and since they improved his mech, I have a feeling he'll be more. So I'm not going to say a price because I don't want to get hate comments or tell you guys wrong. But yeah, anyways, that's Checkmate Chuckles. We're going to move on to the next prop. The next prop is another prop I have talked about in the past. This is the Home Depot's version of Rattles, the Skeleton Corpse Groundbreaker. What was originally supposed to be on that crawling track, as I said about when I was talking about Creeping Spider earlier. This thing is alright. I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, it was a halfway to Halloween drop, and this thing has a freaking Christmas tree base, I just figured out. But yeah, I wouldn't trust this thing outside. I mean, it's pretty cool. I wouldn't really get it myself. I mean, now we're going to talk about his price. The Rotting Corpse Groundbreaker, that's what I'm calling it, retailed for $200, which is not bad, but not great either. Don't know why the hell this thing had to be $200. I mean, it's gigantic, but still, I don't think that's necessary. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about very long. This is the 5-foot Wishing Well. I'm not a big fan of this thing at all. It's more of a background piece. So yeah, don't rely on me to talk about too much about this one because I won't. Let's just talk about it, get to the price already. The 5-foot Wishing Well will be retailing for $150, which is, I've heard you can actually fill it with water, which is pretty cool. But nah, this isn't my cup of tea. Anyways, let's just move on. The 3.5-foot Plague Rat. I'm not a big fan of this prop. I mean, considering it's this prop is overpriced as holy hell. Let's just go ahead and get to the price of the Plague Rat. The Plague Rat is retailing for $130, and keep in mind this thing's only 3.5 foot tall, and it moves a lot like the little 3-footers we get for like $40. Now I know people are gonna be like, "Why are you hating on this thing but not the Troll?" I actually like the Troll, and it's unique. This thing's unique, but I don't really like it. I like the Home Depot Plague Doctor from 2024 instead. So yeah, I don't like the Plague Rat, and it's just overpriced as hell. But yeah, anyways, let's move on. The next prop we have here is the 9-foot Skeleton T-Rex. I did talk about him back in April when he came out too, but this guy's pretty cool. Yeah, it's not really my thing. I mean, I like the way he looks better, and he has an actual 12-footer base instead of the original from 2017 having the Christmas tree base. That's at least cool. But yeah, this one doesn't have a moving jaw either. I would really love for it to have had a moving jaw. Now the Skeleton T-Rex's price. The Skeleton T-Rex is retailing for $400 this Halloween season at Home Depot, which is really expensive, but it's whatever. Anyways, let's just move on to the next prop. This is the 12-foot app-controlled Skelly. This thing is pretty cool, I will admit. I do like that we finally got to hear what the 12-foot skeleton would sound like if he had a voice, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, however, he is online only, which is unfortunate, but it's whatever. I mean, I wasn't going to get him anyways. I mean, where would I even put him? Speak of the devil. Now we're going to talk about his price. 12-foot app-controlled Skelly will retail for $380, the same price as the servo one in 2024. But I guess he has a moving mouth, so that's really cool, and a servo head. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about the 12-foot app-controlled Skelly. So let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is the 8-foot Brewing Witch with the cauldron. This thing is pretty cool. I mean, it's 8 foot from the top of its hat. I like how it actually spins the bubbles in the cauldron instead of the stick just spinning, but I am a little tired of these witches stirring the cauldron, and I think a lot of people are. This is more of like a late 20, like before the 2020s. Like, this is like classic Halloween stuff. Like, nobody really cares about these witches that stir the cauldron anymore. I mean, she's a lot better than last year's, I will say that definitely, but she's just not really my thing. But don't count on me to talk about witch props positively as much, just because I'm not a big witch fan, but I do think this one is better in my book, and if I say it's good, that means it's pretty good. But now we're going to talk about the Brewing Witch's price. The Brewing Witch is retailing for $200, which is pretty good considering her hat makes her 8 feet tall. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the Brewing Witch. Let's move on to the next prop. Coming in at the next prop, we have the 11-foot mummy, which, this prop's alright. I really prefer the Costco mummy more, but that's a no-duh, because it has animation, and it has servos, which are my favorite. But this thing makes sounds for some reason. I mean, I would have liked it better if it was just a static that didn't make any sound, because it looks kind of weird off, and if I got this thing, I'd mainly have it on lights only, but yeah, this 11-foot mummy's just alright, and I won't be picking it up, but let's just get to the price. The 11-foot mummy will be retailing for $300, which isn't bad. I mean, but he's a foot shorter than the 12-foot Skelly, and the 12-foot Skelly is also $300, so whatever you want to do. If you like mummies, get this thing. If you like the skeleton, just get it. But yeah, anyways, that's all I really have to say about the 11-foot mummy. Let's move on to the next prop. Coming in at the next prop is probably my favorite of the Home Depot 2026 lineup. This is the Evil Pixie, which is really, undoubtedly, really freaking cool. I love this thing. It's just like you made the Evil Pixie from last year, just changed it into a gargoyle-looking creature and made it come to life and put motors in it. That's what they did. Now, I do have one flaw with it, and that's the only thing, is that this thing could have been outdoor rated. I don't know why this thing is not outdoor rated. That is the stupidest decision Home Depot's ever made. I mean, it's all blow-molded plastic, which is really cool. But yeah, now the Evil Pixie's price. The Evil Pixie this Halloween season will be retailing for $200, and yes, I'm definitely going to be buying this thing. I cannot wait to get him. I love all of the movement he has, especially the blinking eyes, the flapping wings, mouth movement, all that. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next prop. Okay, that fell off pretty quickly. Coming in right here is at the next prop is the Gremlin Trio. Definitely the second worst prop of the year in my opinion. These gremlins, they don't look bad, but it's just their reskins of the hitchhiking ghosts from Lowe's last year, which I have them, and I'm not planning to keep them much longer. But yeah, these things suck. They're stupid. Now we're going to talk about the Gremlin Trio's price. The Gremlin Trio is going to retail for $250, which is a lot of money for these things. And I don't think I'm going to buy them at all. And I'm glad I'm not going to buy them. So yeah, anyways, we're going to move on to the next prop. Coming in at the next prop is way more on the positive side than the Gremlin Trio was for me. This is the 3-foot Stitch animatronic. I love this thing. He's so cute. He's just like Yoda and all the Star Wars characters were, except for Chewie, that you can switch him out for Halloween and Christmas, which is going to be really cool to see, and I'm so excited to get this little guy. I like the live-action movie. I had never seen the original, but the live-action was really good, but yeah, I really love this Stitch, and I love his little Christmas costume, too. Now his price. This Stitch is going to retail for $200. I know that's a lot because, like, the servos, like Mickey and Minnie and them were the same price and they're 4 foot, but I don't really care. I just love this little Stitch and I can't wait to get him this season. I just love the Disney characters, especially when they have interchangeable costumes like that. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the 2026 Home Depot Stitch. I love it a lot more than the Lowe's one, but yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is another licensed character. This is the Flying Monkey, and this is licensed by Wicked, but you could use this for a Wizard of Oz display too. I'm just going to say I love the blue fur. I was not a big fan of Wicked when I saw it, but this is one I'm definitely going to have to pick up just because I love him so much. Wicked's cool. It's an okay movie. It's a really long one, and I don't really want to sit through that. This is an SVI prop, and I'm glad this prop isn't latex. It's plastic. So, yeah, the Fly Monkey's cool. Anyways, now the price. The Fly Monkey is going to retail this Halloween season for $200. I know that's kind of a lot because he's only 4 feet tall, but, yeah, I like him either way. I'm just excited to get him. But, yeah, anyways, that's all I have to say about the Fly Monkey. Let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm not too positive on either. This is the Pirate Duo. There was an original that came out in 2019, and this year we have these guys. And I'm not a big fan of how they look or their audio. I mean, it's generic pirate stuff, but my favorite pirate animatronic will always be Captain Cuts from 2024. And these things are just all right. I mean, it's 2 animatronics in one, and you're getting them for the price they're retailing for $200, which is pretty good, but I wouldn't get these things. I mean, I'm getting the Parrot, but I like the Parrot because it has the AI chatbot. Not the AI chatbot, just the conversation feature. But, yeah, these pirates are just all right, and I won't be getting them this season. Don't really have much to say about them, so let's just move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is John the Last Call Mixologist. This guy's one of the worst props of the year. And he's also known as the Millennial Burger Joint guy. It's just kind of an inside joke, but it's funny how he has tattoos, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to buy this thing, though. I mean, he's $200, but that's kind of steep for him. Jack of Spades will always be my favorite of the bar lineup. So, yeah, I'm not going to get John the Last Call Mixologist, and he just kind of sucks in my opinion. But, yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is probably my favorite static prop that Home Depot's ever made. This right here is the 5-foot Gargoyle. I love the lights on the candle lights flicker and the eyes on the candle and the gargoyle glow, which is really freaking cool. I do really love this thing, and I plan on getting it. Now we're going to talk about this gargoyle's price. This gargoyle is going to retail for $130, which is not a bad price at all, and I do plan on getting this gargoyle because it's just so freaking cool. So, yeah. That's the 5-foot gargoyle from Home Depot. I'm going to move on to the next prop. Definitely the best gargoyle they've ever had. The next prop I'm going to talk about is the Jimmy Gremlin's Mohawk, 3.5-foot Mohawk. This thing is really cool. I do really like it. It does look almost identical to Stripe from last year. But, yeah, I'm excited to get this thing because I missed my chance to get Stripe last year. Sprite? What? Okay. Now we're going to talk about Mohawk's price. Mohawk Gremlin retails for $180, the same price as Stripe. Do I think this one's better? Not necessarily. I think they're both good in different ways. They both have the similar animation, similar audio. But, yeah, that's all I really have to say about Mohawk. Let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is the 8-foot Perilous Plant Monster. This thing I'm pretty sure is made by SVI, but this thing's really cool. I like its uniqueness, but I do have a few problems with it. One, this thing's box is absolutely gigantic for it being only 8 feet tall, but I guess it's going to be really big proportionally. But, nah, it's whatever. I mean, he's a giant prop, and we've known about this guy since the meeting, which I did like him better at the meeting. I thought he'd be a little bit bigger than he is, but he's 8 feet, which is still pretty big. Now we're going to talk about the Perilous Plant Monster's price. The Perilous Plant Monster for this 2026 Home Depot season will retail for $300. Not a bad price at all for him having that head that's like looks like it's servo, but it's not apparently. It's similar to the Levitating Reapers. But yeah, anyways, that's all I have to say. Let's move on to the next prop. Okay, so I'm pretty sure these next props don't have their demo videos yet, but this is the Grim Stalker Scarecrow. We saw this thing's demo at the media event. This thing is probably the second worst prop of the year. I hate Scarecrows at the same time, but this thing sucks. All it does, it's just like kind of like a Forest Demon and Pennywise reskin from Spirit. I don't like it at all, and yeah, now we're going to talk about the Grim Stalker Scarecrow's price. The Grim Stalker Scarecrow's retailing for $160, which isn't bad, but it's not good either. But yeah. Anyways, I hate the Scarecrow. Let's move on to the next prop. Okay, this next prop is the 7-foot Macabre Witch, which I'm not a big fan of this thing at all. I mean, it's basically they sacrificed the cowboy skeleton for this thing pretty much, and out came the Macabre Witch. This thing isn't bad, but it necessarily isn't good either. But now we're going to talk about its price. The Macabre Witch is retailing this season for $160, which honestly is just an okay price. I would rather have had the cowboy skeleton, but I do like how the snake moves, but it looked pretty cartoony. But yeah, anyways, I don't really like the Macabre Witch. Let's move on to the next prop. The next prop I'm going to talk about is the 7.5-foot Soul Stealing Reaper. Now, this thing is really freaking cool. It's basically just the Spellcaster Witch, but he moves his mouth and moves side to side and then shoots his hand out, which is really freaking cool. Will I be picking him up? Maybe. Most likely, yes. I like his classic Halloween design, but now we're going to talk about the Soul Stealing Reaper's price. The Soul Stealing Reaper this season is retailing for $200. Not a bad price at all for him being 7.5 foot. He's made by Pan Asian Creations, but he looks pretty good. So yeah, anyways, I'm going to move on to the next prop. The next prop is another prop that I might consider picking up this season. This being the Burlap Twins. These things are really freaking cool. I like them because they look good because I'm getting Soul Slasher, so they would look good, but I'm not getting Sitter of Souls. I absolutely hate Sitter of Souls, but yeah, these Scarecrow Twins are pretty cool. I did hate on them back in March when they got leaked, but now we're going to talk about their price. The Burlap Twins this season are retailing for $100. Not bad at all. Not much less expensive than Soul Slasher. But yeah, anyways, that's really all I have to say about them. Let's move on. The next prop I'm going to talk about is another favorite of mine this Halloween season, with this being the Hellhound. This thing is really freaking cool. It is kind of expensive. It's like, it's retailing for $160, but I've heard this thing is absolutely freaking gigantic in person. It's 3.5 foot tall, which I thought at first this thing was just going to be a tabletop. No, this thing's really cool. Will I be getting it? Probably. I do really like this Hellhound, but yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Hellhound, so let's move on to the next prop. I don't have much to say about a lot of these, because I don't have videos. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys later. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll have all the links in the description. Goodbye. Peace out.